Chicago, like most big cities, has its fair share of unsolved crime. And in most of these cases, somebody saw or heard something. It could be a suspicious person, a car driving away from the scene, or simply overhearing somebody talking about the case. With your help, we can put these criminals behind bars where they belong. Here in Chicago, we have too many unsolved murders. We need your help. In these cases, the police department is only as strong as the citizens that get involved. Oftentimes, all the detectives need is a tip, a start. Somebody to call in and say, I saw something. Any little information that you know can be the impetus to solve the entire case. On tonight's episode, we'll be taking a look at the unsolved death of 23-year-old Amanda Pucci. On the morning of May 6, 2014, the body of Amanda was found in an alley in the 1000 block of North Wood Street in Chicago. Her death remains unsolved. Here's her story.
Amanda Pucci grew up in New York, and her family still resides there. I had a chance recently to speak with both grandmothers and also her mother, Christy, and she was described as a very young, energetic girl, very strong-willed, very ambitious. Even at a young age, she showed those traits.
I met Amanda when I lived in Fox Lake at the time, and she had came to apply for a job. She approached us and saw that we worked there, and Amanda decided to talk to us. And before she even asked our names, she had asked us all what our signs were. Amanda was big into horoscopes, loved reading about everything, knowing people's backgrounds of horoscopes. So Amanda came up to us, asked us all what our signs were, and then she asked our names.
She was very just interested in getting to know people in general, and that's where she developed a lot more of her qualities, where she would be helpful to others, very nice, and a very kind person.
Amanda used to always tell us every day that things were gonna happen or this was gonna happen. When I first met Amanda, she actually told me that she is an Aries and I am a Libra. And Amanda told me that Aries and Libra females will go of two ways. They will either be best friends or they won't like each other at all. And Amanda and I soon learned that we became inseparable.
Amanda's mother, Christy, was very instrumental in Amanda's life growing up, but also her grandmothers, Carol and Karen, were also very instrumental in raising Amanda. She loved to spend the night at her grandmother's house. She loved to be in the forest, hiking, loving nature, and she also loved to find animals that often roamed in the forest.
Her family has a lot of pictures of her with animals, frogs, and Amanda always told us that if she ever did go, just to look at squirrels, and that would be her, because Amanda was convinced she would come back as a squirrel.
Amanda was the first of 11 grandchildren, so she was able to help raise some of the other grandchildren. She loved kids and loved helping. In fact, she did the same thing with her siblings, a set of twin sisters and also a little brother. As they got older, they really looked up to Amanda. She was just a pillar of inspiration to all of them. In fact, Amanda inspired her youngest brother and her sisters to join into the military, where they were very successful.
Amanda was probably one of the most bubbly people that I had ever met.
She was just full of life. In fact, her family described her as just being energetic. She lit up the room, and people loved to be around her.
Amanda was always picking up extra shifts or wanting to be everywhere. We had multiple different bars in the place that we worked at. She loved being inside. We had a tiki bar. We had a club upstairs. Amanda was always trying to find something to do just to keep busy.
In New York, she started attending a college locally, and she took an interest in liberal arts. Once she left New York and came to Chicago, her dream was to continue schooling and also continue the liberal arts field.
Amanda was originally from New York and was living in nearby Fox Lake. She was a hardworking young woman and only 23 years old when she passed away under mysterious circumstances.
Amanda was a young girl who moved to Chicago from New York. She was in her 20s. She was in the prime of her life. She was living with her boyfriend. They were making plans to get married and starting their life here in Chicago. Amanda one night went out with her girlfriend. They were out at a local establishment called the Evil Olive in Wicker Park. That was the last time anyone saw Amanda alive.
Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case.
Amanda was a young girl who moved to Chicago from New York. She was in her 20s. She was in the prime of her life. She was living with her boyfriend. They were making plans to get married and starting their life here in Chicago. Amanda one night went out with her girlfriend. They were out at a local establishment called the Evil Olive in Wicker Park. That was the last time anyone saw Amanda alive.
I had talked to Amanda the day before everything happened, well, the morning of that everything happened. We actually talked while she was on her way to work, and Amanda wanted me to come out to the city because it was Cinco de Mayo, and then Amanda was gonna go with our friend to a Cubs game, but she ended up not doing that. She just went out with a friend to go get some drinks.
Amanda had gone out to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with some of her coworkers. She was a healthy, vibrant young woman at a popular dance club.
It was a great night in the city that night, so a lot of people were out. She was at a venue called the Evil Olive, and this place was packed, as it usually is. Amanda was seen in some surveillance photos and videos.
She was having a good time, celebrating with her friends.
Nobody knows what time she actually left, although she was there with some friends that night. Nobody was quite sure what had happened to her because nobody's seen anything prior, anything that would indicate that she was in any trouble or that she even wanted to leave the Evil Olive.
This was the last place she was seen alive.
When Amanda was found, she was found in an alley.
She was found about 7 in the morning by a homeowner who lived near the club where Amanda was last seen. The homeowner opened her garage door to find Amanda's lifeless body in the alley.
She was found dead, unresponsive, sitting down.
The homeowner contacted the police, who responded immediately and pronounced Amanda dead at the scene. The police found no signs of trauma, but are still investigating this sudden and suspicious nature of Amanda's death.
Later in the evening, I got a call repeatedly from a New York number, and then I got a Facebook call, and it was Amanda's mom, and I was very confused. She asked me if I had talked to Amanda, and I said no, Amanda was out last night, so I just kind of figured she was still sleeping. She had told me that Amanda usually calls her, and she hadn't, and she couldn't get a hold of Mike, and she felt like something was really, really wrong. And then the next day, Amanda's mom called me, and they didn't know what happened yet, but there was a notice out of a girl that sounded very descriptive of Amanda.
The family found out about Amanda's incident because they received a call from the Chicago Police Department. Keep in mind, Amanda's family lives in New York, and to hear news like that is really devastating when you're so far away.
So that's when I reached out to Mike, and someone had answered his phone, and she had just basically verified to me that unfortunately it was true. And then we hung up the phone. She didn't want to give me any details, which I understood.
When Amanda's grandmother Karen got the news, her first thoughts were that Amanda had been raped and brutally beaten and left in an alley to die. They weren't quite sure. They didn't really have answers at that time.
When Amanda was taken to the Cook County morgue, the medical examiner ruled it overdose, heroin, and alcohol. Amanda was a young girl who moved to Chicago from New York. She was in her 20s. She was in the prime of her life. She was living with her boyfriend. They were making plans to get married and starting her life here in Chicago. Amanda one night went out with her girlfriend. They were out at a local establishment called the Evil Olive in Wicker Park. That was the last time anyone saw Amanda alive. When Amanda was found, she was found in an alley at a nearby block. She was found dead, unresponsive, sitting down. When Amanda was taken to the Cook County morgue, the medical examiner ruled it overdose, heroin, and alcohol.
When they received the autopsy report, the family did find out that there were some drugs in Amanda's system. Amanda was not known to use any drugs. She had somebody that was very close to her that was affected by drugs, and that made her dislike drugs even more. So the family is very confused on why there would be drugs in Amanda's system. This is something that was not like her, not in her personality at all.
Hearing that Amanda had passed was probably one of the hardest things to go through because we had become friends so fast. And as fast as she came in my life, she was pretty much taken. It was a friendship with Amanda like I had never had before. She was just the most random, outgoing, caring person, and so full of life. So it was hard.
Till this day, it's uncertain whether Amanda was a heroin user. We do know that she, like I said, she was very young. She liked to party. Whether she used that heroin that night, consumed it that night, willingly or unwittingly, is yet to be determined.
Through some investigation with the Chicago Police Department, they're still putting together details. She had just been left for dead there, and this is a case that still remains open and as a death investigation.
The police arrived, they found Amanda's body and canvassed the area looking for clues. Police noticed that Amanda's purse and cell phone were missing, and those items have yet to be found. Her purse and cell phone could contain valuable information in solving this crime.
This case continues to be a death investigation. Amanda's family continues to work with the Chicago Police Department, and every year they do send out flyers throughout the city to help get any type of information.
After several months of investigating the death of Amanda, we have received some tips specifically from Amanda's family in New York that another individual was arrested in Chicago for providing an amount of heroin to a victim, and that victim passed out and was subsequently sexually assaulted by the offender. And she had said that she had heard that there was someone at the party at the Evil Olive the night that Amanda died that closely resembled the individual that was arrested for that criminal sexual assault and providing that controlled substance to the victim.
There were a lot of people in the bar that night, several of whom were seen on security footage, who are now of interest to the police. It's possible that Amanda may have left with one of these individuals, voluntarily or otherwise.
Amanda's grandmother in New York had received Facebook messages from someone who was at the Evil Olive the night that Amanda died. And that individual provided her with an article, newspaper article, and said, just an FYI to her, said, you know, this guy that was arrested, I believe he might have been here the night that Amanda died at the Evil Olive. I reassigned it to a new set of detectives to take a closer look and to make a determination whether that person was in fact at the Evil Olive the night that Amanda was found dead. We started doing background checks, started running phone data, historical data, and as we learned that night at the Evil Olive, it appears that both phones were pinging in the area of the Evil Olive. What I had our detectives do was go back and see if the Evil Olive had any video of the night that Amanda left and was found dead. And they did. They recovered hours and hours of video. And subsequently, what we did learn is that that individual was potentially at the Evil Olive.
This has been very hard for Amanda's mother, Christy. In fact, she's very numb. She really has lost a huge piece of her heart. In fact, she described it as the worst feeling in the world, a pain that nobody can really imagine unless it has happened to them. It has affected her siblings as well. They really took it hard because they're such a close family. It really did devastate them. However, they were able to rise through and continue, knowing that the feeling of Amanda watching over them would help them get through this. Hi, I'm Lisette Guillen from Case Files Chicago, and we like to feature your case on our show. If you know of an unsolved homicide from the Chicago area, our team wants to help you close that case. Please visit our website at www.casefileschicago.com. While you're there, you can also view our database of unsolved murders that needs your assistance. Only by working together can we help solve these crimes and help heal our city. Thank you, Chicago, and stay safe.
Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case. Amanda was originally from New York and was living in nearby Fox Lake. She was a hardworking young woman and only 23 years old. Amanda had gone out to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with some of her coworkers. She was at a popular dance club called the Evil Olive, and this was the last place she was seen alive. Amanda was found about 7 in the morning by a homeowner who lived near the club where Amanda was last seen. The homeowner opened her garage door to find Amanda's lifeless body in the alley. The homeowner contacted the police, who responded immediately and pronounced Amanda dead at the scene. The police found no signs of trauma, but are still investigating this sudden and suspicious nature of Amanda's death.
Since the incident, this has been an ongoing death investigation with the Chicago Police Department. The family has been heavily involved. I know that speaking with grandmother Karen, she has taken it upon herself to send out flyers every year since this incident has happened. She sends out hundreds throughout the city. Whoever sees them, she hopes that they will post them and share them. Grandmother Carol, she continues to fly into the city of Chicago from time to time just to get an update from detectives. Although they can't speak on the phone, she still chooses to come out and visit.
Her sisters and her brother, they're really great. I talk to them all from time to time. And my friend Lauren and I, actually, when Amanda passed, we took a trip out to New York. We drove out to New York to be there for the services because we understood why they were in there, and it was just something her and I could not miss. And her family treated us like they had knew us as long as Amanda had. They were so welcoming and loving, and they invited us to their home like they had met us, two random strangers, but she knew how special we were to Amanda, so they took us in like they had always known us, and it was probably one of the best experiences of my life going.
So we've kept in contact via telephone or email with Amanda's family. Both grandmothers actually have been very active. They're very concerned, but they're both very adamant that they don't believe that Amanda would have consumed an amount of heroin that would have killed her. What I do think is that there's too many variables that are in common with the previous case and this case, and until we get help, until we get someone that comes forward and tells us, okay, I did see this, and I did see this individual talking to her, or I did have this individual come up to me and offer me an amount of heroin or amount of drugs to consume with him. Until we get some more corroborating evidence, this case will remain what it is, a death investigation.
This family really needs answers, just like all of our unsolved cases. It makes it harder because Amanda's family is still in New York, and so it is harder for them to communicate and to get the answers and to do a lot of the legwork that they want to do. This family desperately needs justice. They are looking for closure. They know that it won't bring Amanda back, but it will ease the pain and answer the questions on what happened to Amanda that night.
Amanda's family and friends are calling on anyone who might have information to please speak up.
If anybody does know anything, or anybody hears anything, any kind of information, bring it forth to the detective, because he's the one who can fix it and find our answers. All the answers that everyone deserves for Amanda, he can find it with more information.
There's a ton of cases where people are victimized, regardless of whether they are heroin or any type of drug. They are consumers of heroin or any type of drug. That doesn't mean they deserve to die. And especially if someone who is providing them the drug and intentionally mixing it and making it so they either make a bigger profit or they have other motives in mind, such as taking advantage of them. In our eyes, that's murder. In the state's eyes, that's murder.
There's currently a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in Amanda Pucci's death. If you heard anything, saw anything suspicious, or know anything, please call detectives at the Chicago Police Department.
I'm asking that if you did see her, or if you knew her, you saw her coming in or leaving the bar that evening, if you saw her talking to anybody, if you recognized anybody that she was talking with, please come forward. Any little bit of information would be helpful. Not only in this case, we believe there's a lot of victims out there of this type of crime, with all the common variables that exist between this case and the other case, and a suspect that we believe that was there that evening. If we get some help, we might be able to bring some justice to Amanda Pucci and her family.
Amanda was a fun, friendly, vivacious, energetic 23-year-old. She had her whole life ahead of her, and she didn't deserve to die like this. Her family deserves closure and justice. Please come forward and help us solve this crime.
Please call Area Central Detective Division at 312-747-8380. You can ask for any detective that investigates homicides, or you can ask for myself, Lieutenant Ozzie Valdez.
Amanda used to tell me that she was always looking for me because she needed a Libra in her life, and I never really believed in horoscopes until Amanda came around. And now, ever since I lost Amanda, I check it daily. I'll read mine and then I'll read hers. I even have a tattoo. Here's Lauren, and then this is Amanda, and then there's mine.
The cases featured on tonight's episode remain unsolved, and we need your help. If you have any information on tonight's episode or any of the cases featured on the show, please give the detectives a call. We need our communities to come together so we can take back our streets and make our neighborhoods safe again.